So today we're going over Giuliani right-hand studies or right-hand arpeggios number 18 to number 20. And follow the lesson for free and get some tips. But if you're interested, all 120 Giuliani arpeggios are in my technique book, as well as 100 open string exercises that I put before the Giuliani arpeggios, which I think are very beneficial to students. And there's a link for my book in the description. But as always, follow the lesson for free. There's lots of tips, and these arpeggios exist in lots of books, so you might even already have them. Make sure to watch all the previous videos and work your way up to number 18. I don't want to repeat myself over and over giving you planting lessons, but it's still applicable to all of these arpeggios, so make sure you've covered that. I think at this point, we start to get into some interesting things that students who have just used like a basic method book haven't actually played through. So it's getting a little bit more informative in terms of what approaches you can take to playing these kinds of note arrangements. So when we look at number 18, we have a chord followed by a small arpeggio in the bass voice, right? So we're going to play that bass voice with P, P, I. So you might want to try that out without the chord first. So P, P, I, P, P, I, P, P, I. And you might notice that I'm doing a light rest stroke with my thumb, just on the first note. So on the first note, a light rest stroke so that you end up on the string that you need to play next. But then the rest are free strokes. So rest, free, free, rest, free, free, rest, free, free, rest, free, free. And then just throw in the chord into that. And of course, as you pick up tempo, I think the important thing is to keep that rest stroke fairly light. Otherwise, it can get very disjunct, and your nail can catch, things like that. So just, again, practice that bass voice on its own. Make sure you can glide through that very easily, and then you're doing it in a very secure way, but it's also light in a different way. You're not doing heavy strokes necessarily, but the rest stroke does make it very secure. So it's like secure and yet fairly light. And you can try it both with the rest stroke and a free stroke with the thumb. I think it's good to practice both, but certainly the preferred way I think for this arpeggio pattern is that double rest stroke with the thumb there. So number 19 is just like an offset of that, so the chord occurs on the second beat. It's the same bass pattern in the arpeggio. Thumb, thumb, I with the rest stroke, but your chord's just occurring in the middle of the triplet. The transition of the chord in this particular case is much more easy because you have a single bass note, and then you can get the rest of the chord. On number 18, you actually kind of have to grab all three notes at once, so it's a little bit more of a difficult transition. Again, just keeping it light is very important, and also keeping the emphasis on the first note of each triplet. So here, 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 here. Don't get thrown off by the fact that a three-note chord is happening in the middle of the triplet. You don't want to feel the emphasis here. That's a little rhythmically confused. You want to feel triple, or like one triplet, two triplet, three triplet, four triplet, one triplet, two triplet, three triplet, four triplet, one triplet, two triplet, three triplet, four triplet, one. You want to make sure that you're feeling the beat through there. And then number 20, the chord occurs on the final beat. So you have a double thumb again, but then you just have I, M, and A. I think it's really important on this particular pattern to make sure that your I, M, and A chord, that you're really just bringing that chord back in towards the palm in a very relaxed way, but with solid contact, so you don't catch a certain finger or there's like an imbalance in the chord. And again, make sure that you're feeling 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. That you're feeling the beat very clearly. These patterns are used a lot in repertoire, that double thumb stroke, so it's incredibly beneficial technique to know. And also, it's just another example of how the Giuliani right-hand studies or arpeggios can help inform you of what your fingering options are in repertoire. I get asked all the time, can you write out all the right-hand fingering? And most of the time my answer is no. Your technique is the model that you use for your repertoire. So you come across a passage in the repertoire and you choose a fingering in your right hand based on the techniques that you've practiced, citing the fact that it's very efficient in technique practice, so it can be efficient in your repertoire. In this particular case, that double thumb stroke allows you to go through the arpeggio while keeping these fingers available mainly for those upper notes. So very beneficial, and the next couple ones are very similar, but we'll address them separately. The only other thing that I would mention is, in terms of the planting in this particular case, it's still very useful. You're just going to watch my other video on planting. I'll put a link for that in the description. But planting still works. You're planting each sequentially, so like a full plant here, thumbs planted, the eye, fingers planted, the chord is planted. You can do that throughout all of these arpeggios, and it's another way of practicing and securing your right hand and training your right hand. So you're not just playing through the arpeggio, but you can actually practice different aspects of the techniques involved. So you can also check out that previous video. But main thing here is it's a little bit different of a technique, so you just want to make sure that you can very easily glide through these arpeggios. I think a lot of people skip these ones sometimes, but very, very important.